Hello students, welcome to this video tutorial on working with integer tiles note. So if you've never worked with integer tiles before, they're really fun, okay? And they really help with understanding how things work, especially when we get to addition and subtraction. Okay, but before we get there, we have to understand what integers are. So make sure you've got your integer tiles out. Okay, and what I usually do is I create a pile of positive tiles and then a pile of negative tiles. Okay, the red tiles here represent a positive integer. So for each red tile, that represents one positive integer, or positive 1. For every white tile, it represents a negative integer. Okay, so these are the steps that we're going to go through. So number 1, representing integers. All right, so when we got an integer of -3, very easy to build this model. So all you need to do is just bring over 3 negative tiles. Okay, so take the time to do that. It's no big deal. Okay, so I've got ones here on the side, and there we go. So we've represented this integer in terms of tiles, -3. Okay, pretty simple, right? All right, let's go on to question B, +5. So I know it seems obvious at this time, but just bring over these tiles because again, the movement of these tiles is really going to help us visualize what's going to happen in kind of higher operations later. Okay, so I'll just line these up. Much easier for you to bring the tiles over than for me. Mine are kind of virtual tiles. Okay, so we've got an integer here of +5. And then finally for the last one, -6. So you can also stack them. So you don't always have to have them in a row. Basically, the strategy is whatever allows you to count them quickly. So if you're going to double stack them like this, that's fine. Or you can have rows of 5 or rows of 10, whatever works. Okay, so now let's go to our note. Okay, so I'm going to put my ink tools on here. So right now your note is going to be very blank because we just used the tiles. So using your pencil now, we always have to draw what's called the tile diagram. Okay, so for -3, I just want you to draw 3 negative tiles, like this. Pretty simple. Okay? Now, for the next one, +5. You basically draw your tile diagram from what you have in your tiles. So here we go, +5. They don't have to be the neatest. As long as your positive tiles look different from your negative tiles, you don't have to color them in. This is fine. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then our tile diagram for -6. Very simple. If you've got the room and you want to put them all in one line, that's fine. Okay, whatever strategy works. Now make sure you go back. See what I did is I created the outlines first and then I went back and put the negative sign in. Make sure that whatever tile diagram you're drawing, you've got a sign in. This is not a tile diagram. This is nothing. What is this supposed to represent? Positive or negative? Okay, so don't do that. All right. So that's the first step. Very simple, right? Okay, so let's go on to the second thing, the zero model. Okay, so what's the zero model? Adding an equal number of positive tiles and negative tiles creates zero models. So let's see what that means. So let's bring over a positive tile for question A, and then let's bring over a negative tile. Okay, this represents a zero model, an equal number of positive tiles, one positive tile, and one negative tile equals zero model. Okay, so let's create another zero model. So how about we have, this time, 2 positive tiles. So again, bring 2 positive tiles over and 2 negative tiles. Okay, build that model in front of you. So we've got an equal number of positive tiles, 2, and an equal number of negative tiles, 2. So we've created, in fact, two zero models. Okay? All right, let's build one more model. Okay, remember your pencils are down, you're just working with the tiles now. So let's bring over four positive tiles, and then let's match that with four negative tiles. Okay? So now we have an equal number of positive tiles, 4, and an equal number of negative tiles, 4. Therefore, we have created 4 zero models. Okay, so let's create the tile diagrams now. Okay, again, you don't have to go quick. We're just going slow. So in order to draw this diagram, very simple. We have one positive tile and one negative tile. Now, whenever we have a zero model, I always want you to circle them. Okay, so it doesn't have to be with a different color, but I just use red to emphasize that. Okay, maybe I should increase the weight of my pen here. Okay, so now let's draw this model. We have two positives and two negatives. Okay, so again, we have two zero models. So I'm going to change my color, and I'm going to put a loop around one zero model and a loop around the second zero model. So we have two zero models, so there should be two loops. And that makes it very easy to identify how many zero models we have. All right, let's go to the last question. Let's draw our diagram. So again, it doesn't have to be horizontal. You could have matched them vertically. It doesn't matter, okay? And because we have four zero models, let's create four loops here, like that. Okay, so when you have zero models, make sure you stack them or you put them side by side. So here's an example of what I don't want you to do. Okay, so let's say we have two zero models. Like this, okay? Don't write them like that, because then how are we going to circle them? We're going to circle this one, and then we have to kind of do something funny like this to circle the other one. It doesn't make any sense. So again, that is not a good diagram. Okay, so let's go on to the last part of the note. Using zero models to represent integers. Now that we know how to make zero models, any integer can be represented a number of ways. So for example, the integer of -2. So I'm just going to steal some of these tiles, okay? So the easiest one is two negative tiles. Right there, okay? So bring over your integer tiles and make this integer model here. Two negative integers. That's the easiest way to represent the integer -2. But now that we know how to use zero models, we can represent that integer a different way. So how about this? How would I bring over another negative tile and another negative tile? And then how about I add a positive tile? And of course that's not going to work because I need a negative tile here. Okay? So here is another model of the integer -2. I've got two negative integer tiles here, and I've got a zero model. Well, the zero model, as it says, is 0. It cancels each other out, and we're left with two negative tiles. So if we were to create a third diagram, so I'm running out of tiles. Let's see. I'll bring this one over. So basically, after you cancel out the zero models, all you have to have left is the two negative tiles, don't you? So what if I did something like this? Okay. So now I've created 3 zero models, but once I take the 3 zero models away, I'm still left with -2. So you see what we've done here? Okay, so let's draw these diagrams before we go on to the next question. All right, so diagram number 1. All right, so we've got this model in front of us. So now let's draw the tile diagram. So answer number 1, easiest one of all, 2 negative tiles. Okay, answer number 2, 2 negative tiles and 1 zero model. Okay, answer number 3, oops. Answer number 3, which is this one over here, got our 2 negative tiles, and then we've got 3 zero models. And then we go back and we circle our 3 zero models. Okay? So I've just created 3 separate answers that all represent the integer -2. So what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to take a few minutes and I'd like you to come up with 4 answers for the integer +3. You don't have to build them with the tiles. Why don't you go straight to drawing them? Okay, and your first answer should always be the simplest. Okay, and that is no zero models and 3 positive tiles. Okay, so I want you to finish that, and then when you finish your 3 other additional solutions, call Mr. Ueda over to show him. Okay, so this concludes this video tutorial on working with integer tiles. Thanks for watching. Bye.